I'm John Jessup. I'm the CEO of Reputation Studio. We've actually been in the Salesforce ecosystem for 13 years. So know a lot of various clouds, Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, Platform. We're also really well educated on the App Exchange. So we've built a lot of various App Exchange apps. I'll give you a little background on myself here. It's not the presentation. All right. Okay. So we're headquartered in Park City, Utah. So if you're skiers, come out and visit us sometime. We've been in business for about almost 10 years. We've done a lot of e-commerce integrations. So we know retail really, really well. So we do a lot with Amazon, eBay, Magento, Shopify. And then Commerce Cloud is kind of our enterprise solution that we do. We are an ISV and an OEM partner of Salesforce, as well as a Commerce Cloud partner, Link Technology. We were actually in the Salesforce AI incubator in San Francisco last summer. So worked with a lot of the Einstein product team and a lot of the marketing folks. And I'm actually a Salesforce Accelerate EMEA advisor. So I'm helping some of the financial services companies here in EMEA. And Reputation Studio is actually a new company that we started this year. I'll give you a really quick background on that, and then we'll go into this. So when we were in the Salesforce incubator, we were doing some really cool sentiment and intent analysis on natural language, basically language. And one of the solutions we built a long time ago was an Amazon review integration with Service Cloud. And so we're actually running Einstein against all the Amazon review data. And then brands can actually respond to reviews inside Service Cloud. And then we've since integrated pretty much every other review channel into Salesforce. And it's a huge aspect of what Salesforce does from a consumer engagement and any channel service play in terms of what people are saying about your products, your locations, your apps, and even your companies with Glassdoor and Indeed. So what is Commerce Cloud? So Salesforce acquired Demandware in 2016. And so the core Commerce Cloud solution is the Demandware platform. Demandware also acquired some companies before that, and they've since acquired some additional companies. But it's so we're going to go in a lot more detail. But it's definitely an enterprise commerce solution. So if you want to spin up an e-commerce site, you're not using Commerce Cloud. So I kind of wanted to just talk about just momentum at Salesforce. So I'm sure we probably recognize a lot of these logos at the bottom here. But they're powering over 3,000 sites. And these are enterprise sites doing very, very large volume. So obviously this is November. We're going into Black Friday and the crazy shopping season. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people at Salesforce making sure that they're ready to handle the kind of traffic that their customers expect, are expecting for the holidays. But just massive, growth in terms of the sites, the GMV totals, and GMV is gross merchandise value. So it's how much money people are spending on these e-commerce sites is growing significantly. I'm not really going to talk too much about Cloud Craze, but it's the new B2B solution that Salesforce acquired earlier this year. I'm sure we've probably all seen the Forrester wave, but Salesforce is up and to the right. They're really the leader when it comes to a commerce solution. And you'll sort of see some other enterprise solutions. Magento's on here. Oracle acquired ATG way back in the day. And then the new stuff and I'll go into this in more detail, but we're doing a lot with Marketing Cloud now, and there's some really cool stuff with commerce journeys. I would say that's probably the biggest overlap between clouds right now. Is most Commerce Cloud customers are probably using Marketing Cloud to send emails, do push notifications on mobile, And having the Commerce Cloud integrate with Marketing Cloud is really, really powerful. And most people that use Commerce Cloud are really on the marketing side. Obviously, an e-commerce site is a marketing channel, and you want to drive as much traffic to that site as possible. A lot of these companies have, millions of consumers that have purchased or have created accounts, and so making sure they have journeys around abandoned shopping carts and all of that is a huge deal. And then service for commerce as well. And I'll show you there's a GitHub repo that talks about how to integrate Service Cloud and Commerce Cloud. And that's kind of where we've been focused, is making sure that orders and customers are in Service Cloud, so that with the customer calls, you can use CTI to do a screen pop and understand who they are, what they bought, when they bought it, be able to create a case against an order or a product, and then some of the analytics around that as well. And so I want to reiterate, Commerce Cloud is a enterprise solution, and so there's a ton of functionality, and I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail on it. But just the ability for it to be global, it's multi-currency, it's multi-language. Some of these companies are running sites, globally. I met Echo Shoes, which is running their site in China, and they said that's their largest market. I don't know if we just saw Singles Day in Alibaba. They did, I think it was $1 billion in the first 45 seconds. And so Alibaba and Tmall, just driving significant. They don't run on Commerce Cloud. That would be interesting. But it's again multi-site, multi-language, multi-currency. They have CDNs to make sure the sites are really fast. I'm sure when we buy something, we're not going to sit there waiting for the page to load. So page load times are a huge implication or factor in site conversion. So making sure the sites are super fast. And again, leader in B2C. And so the business manager is really where you sort of control the site. And you can sort of see all the data around it. There's a lot of SEO, which is, on Google, you search for something, making sure that your pages are showing up there. There's a lot of merchandising, a lot of A/B testing capabilities, so you can test what's going to be the most efficient way to get somebody to buy something. A lot of pricing capabilities, a lot of promotions, a lot of marketing tools for these retailers. So what the program that we're part of is the Link technology. So it allows us to extend Commerce Cloud, and they have a marketplace. It's actually part of the App Exchange now, I think as of 2 weeks ago. So if you go to the App Exchange, there's a Commerce Cloud piece of that, which is this Link technology. And so you can get certified on this. You can build what they call a cartridge. So it's Commerce Cloud is it's Java based, and so you can do a lot of JavaScript, but you can basically package just like you could create a managed package with App Exchange. They call that a Link cartridge, and then that cartridge can be installed into the Commerce Cloud site, and then it can add all these different capabilities. So pretty much, if you go to that marketplace on the App Exchange for Commerce Cloud, all the partners there have built a Link cartridge, and I'll actually show you some Link cartridges that are on GitHub. And so typically customers, I think every Commerce Cloud customer uses at least one cartridge, just like most Salesforce customers use an App Exchange product. And so a big part of this is obviously it's the storefront, Einstein. There's order management if you want to use it. There is a very large community of folks, partners. I was actually at Salesforce Connections in Chicago I think it was in June or July, and it was a big Marketing Cloud, Commerce Cloud. And so there's a very large community around this as well. And then obviously at Dreamforce, there was a whole retail Commerce Cloud. There was a Commerce Cloud keynote. So it's a very similar story, and I think this is obviously why Salesforce acquired Demandware. It's all about innovation, and it's how much it takes to actually support a Commerce Cloud site. And so these retailers don't want to focus on making sure the site is up. They want to innovate on driving conversion and sales, and not deal with the network and the security and all the same stuff. So it's a very similar story as the core Salesforce platform, but this platform is built for for commerce. Einstein's a huge part of this too. So really getting predictive in terms of a personalization. So you go to the site, if you're a male, you see stuff that you might be interested in. Same thing with email, right? You want to get email of things you're interested in. So based on what you've looked at in the past, showing things that are maybe most relevant to you. There is some point of sale capability. I don't think it's really what they're focused on these days. And then it's really just the ability to have the conversion, the growth, and just the ability to execute on a lot of these marketing initiatives. And so it's very similar to the platform, right? It's faster innovation. It's the predictive commerce, unified experiences. And I'm trying to figure out that like mobile is one of the huge things that the future of commerce is mobile. Like I'm sure most of us are have shopped on our phones. There's the Amazon effect, right? Like we get a text message, we get an email, we click into it. I don't know. I mean, has everybody bought something on their phone? Probably. And so there's actually the one of the biggest new innovations with Commerce Cloud is, and I'll go into this more detail, but it's the Storefront architecture. So it's a mobile first architecture for building sites. So making sure the sites are responsive and super mobile friendly. So you can check out. I mean, there's Amazon or Apple Pay. So making sure that the payment process and the checkout is super seamless. Again, merchandising multi-site. There's distributed commerce. There's things now called headless commerce, where you could actually buy something with Alexa or your Google Home. It's like that's really where a lot of this is going. So let's see here. So artificial, like I said, there's a new thing called Predictive Sort. So making sure that you're showing the most relevant things at the right times. And obviously, Salesforce is all about customer success. Right, and so most Commerce Cloud customers have had significant success by migrating off a legacy platform, that's not cloud-based to Commerce Cloud. So I've got a quote here from Icebreaker, just a massive increase in conversion and traffic to the sites. I'll just keep. And so Salesforce or Demandware acquired a company actually based in Utah, where we're based. And it was doing a lot of sort of point of sale. And as you can probably imagine, like point of sale in a brick and mortar store is hard. And so it's not really something that Salesforce is focused on. So I think that's actually a big opportunity for maybe a partner to come in and provide that kind of point of sale integration with Commerce Cloud. Because we do a lot of customers that use it, but Salesforce is not really investing in it. So again, it's all about the e-commerce site. So it's the destination, it's the .com, it's the Adidas.com, and making sure that they're providing the same experience as you potentially would in a store, and making sure that the site converts really, really well. Again, Party City, another one. They've got a lot of brick and mortar stores, but their .com is a huge thing going forward. And actually, I don't know if you saw the news. Party City has a partnership with Amazon now. So you can actually buy a lot of Party City products on all the Amazon sites globally. Order management, I think only about 10% of Commerce Cloud customers use it for order management. Most of the big guys are going to use like SAP or Oracle to do all the back-end order management processes. But some of the smaller, I would say, Commerce Cloud customers use order management. And then one thing I'm really excited about, because I'm a Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. I know communities, I know platform, and we're learning a lot more about Marketing Cloud, but really like unifying all these clouds. And Salesforce is doing a really good job now of making sure that connecting all the clouds is easier. These are really large brands, and so they're going to have some unique things that they need to do. So I don't think it'll ever be like completely out of the box. You're not going to like spin up, the connector between Marketing Cloud and Commerce Cloud in a day, right? So understanding, what's the process, and you're going to typically deploy it into multiple environments. You'll have your Salesforce Sandbox, you'll have your Commerce Cloud Sandbox, and you'll make sure that there's a business use case and that you can actually scale it. And I wanted to understand. I'm sure I've seen this slide on the Salesforce side of things. But seeing this slide for me on the Commerce Cloud side is really powerful, because it talks about just there's optimization, there's debugging, there's testing, there's APIs under the hood, which I'll go into. There's all the stuff that as it relates to Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, It's very similar on the Commerce Cloud side of things. So what we've done with Commerce Cloud so far is we've used OCAPI, which is the Open Commerce APIs, and we've actually built these into Apex. And so you can actually install a Commerce Cloud connector into a core Salesforce account, and then it gives us the ability to connect the Commerce Cloud site to the Salesforce account, and then we can start making API calls. There's 3 different types of APIs. There's the shop APIs, the data APIs, and the metadata APIs. And so we use shop and data. The meta hasn't really been that valuable for us, but it allows you to do some really, really powerful things. And it also allows you to build additional tool sets. I mean, you could build it in any language, right? You could build it on Heroku or AWS or whatever. But it allows you to import data, export data. I saw that there was a recent Smile.io. That's one of the Commerce Cloud customers is using OCAPI to integrate Smile.io, which sends like personalized invitations or something like that. The main developer technologies that you should be aware of. So I mentioned the Storefront Reference Architecture, which is the mobile first architecture. There's a UX Studio, which is an Eclipse plugin that you can use. Site Genesis, there's demo data, so you can spin up a new Commerce Cloud site with demo data, which they call Site Genesis. There's a Grunt.js library. There's actually a new Node.js library that I just saw. But I mentioned OCAPI. There's pipelets, so you can build pipelets to get data in and out. There's a script debugger. There's a iOS and SDK client API. Obviously, most of these companies you probably have on your phones, like an Adidas app or a Nike app or something like that. Those are probably using the iOS or the SDKs. And then link cartridges. You can build a cartridge and then package it, get it. There's a certification process. One thing that's interesting and a big difference between like core Salesforce and Commerce Cloud, you can build an App Exchange app and get it certified through security review and everything without being a certified developer. Whereas with Commerce Cloud, you have to be a certified Commerce Cloud developer to even submit your cartridge for approval. And I think there's not a lot of certified Commerce Cloud developers in the Salesforce ecosystem. I think Daniel, Peter, and I might be the only ones. So that's interesting. And obviously, you can hire a third-party Commerce Cloud company that has certified developers. So that's another way to go. I thought this was kind of cool just to sort of see that the typical you've got obviously a lot of redundancy. A lot of Commerce Cloud customers have a lot of sandbox environments. So they might have a sandbox environment for France, for the UK, for the US. And then it's very similar to like how you would structure your Salesforce environments. You have like development, you'd have staging, and then you'd have production. Most Commerce Cloud sites have been locked down for at least a month because they're not making any changes to their sites between now and after Christmas. And so it's we're going live with a customer in January, but we're doing a lot of testing in their development staging, and then we'll push it into production after the holidays. And then this is another kind of how you configure Commerce Cloud. So you can have like different instances, you can have different realms, and managing multi-site is one of the most powerful things of Commerce Cloud. A lot of the non-enterprise solutions don't really handle, like you literally have to have like multiple like versions of your site that aren't, it's like there's really no way to like manage multi-site with a lot of these kind of lower end commerce solutions. And I think some of them are improving, but for the most part, that's not really what they do. So I just wanted to go back to OCAPI. How many of us are developers? Okay. So OCAPI, I mean, they use a JWT. You can actually have either a guest or credential or a session authentication. And then it's just OAuth 2. And so you can basically make an API call. There's a lot of permissions around the API. And so I can probably show you what that looks like. But it's very similar to Salesforce. There's like a field level FLS, field level security. So if a customer is going to grant you access to their API or configure API access for you, they actually say, what are you able to, which APIs are you able to access, and then also which APIs allow you to read, write, delete. Like obviously, if Adidas gives you access to their site, they want to make sure you're not deleting products or deleting orders or something like that. And so most of them are going to give you maybe read access. And this is obviously goes into a lot of the testing. So I was going to give you a quick demo of kind of how we've done some of these things. So let's do that. So this is the app that we built, and so we just have a custom setting called Commerce Cloud Settings. You can actually have as many of these as you want. So if you had multiple sites, and a lot of these companies do have multiple sites because they might have like different domains, and a lot of these companies have also made acquisitions. So you might have a retailer that acquires another retailer, and they're also on Commerce Cloud, and so they would have multiple instances. But for us, the default like client ID is a bunch of A's, and then you can have your default site. We map it to a default account. You can run the version. We're currently on 18.8. This one's running on 17.4. So it depends on how they've upgraded their sites. And what the integration that we've done is we've integrated customers. So all of these contacts. I'll just go here. Those are default ones. But orders is we're using the standard order object from Salesforce, which is pretty new. And so if we look here, all orders, and there's two things that it does. It can either pull orders from Commerce Cloud, or we actually can push orders to Commerce Cloud. So there's actually like a shopping cart API, and so you can like push payments to Commerce Cloud, and so this is like the standard order object. This was an order that was created in Salesforce, and then we can push that to Commerce Cloud. So if I log into Commerce Cloud, you'd see the same order in here. We typically just set up like a default price book for the site, and so making sure that data flow is really seamless. The other thing I wanted to show you, so the environment for Commerce Cloud, the community portal, is called Exchange. To get access to this, you have to be either a customer or a partner. To be a link partner, there is a fee. I think it's like $5,000 a year. There's different types levels. So there's like an entry level developer or like partner that's I think very cheap, and then $5,000 is like to be able to submit a cartridge, and then but most of the big partners are paying a lot more. There's also a consulting technology partnership or link consulting partner program. But this has access to like all the resources, all the API documentation. If you actually go to this GitHub, I didn't realize, I went to a Commerce Cloud session at Dreamforce, and they were showing all this stuff. And so here's the Storefront Reference Architecture. These are all the link cartridges. So like Bazaar Voice is the review platform that most companies use for their e-commerce sites. So if you click into like a link cartridge, connection's not private. All right. And then the big thing I wanted to show you here is, so the Service Cloud connector is actually pretty cool. It actually includes two things, which is, so there's a cartridge that you can install into the site, which actually calls the REST APIs for the Salesforce account. And then it also includes a managed package that you can install into the core Salesforce. So it's actually a cartridge and a managed package that call each other. And so it actually makes for the data transfer in real time. So like literally within seconds of somebody placing an order, that customer, that order shows up in Salesforce. And the reason that's important is, say you check out on the site and you're like, oh, I forgot, I changed my address or whatever, and you call and they do a screen pop, like, and the call center is like, oh, I don't know who you are, right? Like that's a problem. And so knowing, oh, like thank you for placing that order just now, and then the ability to edit the order before it actually gets pulled down into the order management. Because a lot of these companies, they're shipping it. It's getting shipped fast, right? And so you probably have 30 minutes to make changes to an order before it actually is going to into fulfillment. And so this GitHub repo is really valuable, and this is kind of where everything is managed. It's also on Chatter, so there's actually a Chatter group for Commerce Cloud. And then I just wanted to show you real quick. So this is there's documentation on still on demandware.com, but these are like all the APIs that we're using. So there's like basket resources, there's gift certificates, there's product APIs, there's like search, there's site, there's a store resource, there's catalogs. I mean, a lot of capabilities built into these APIs, and that's just the shop APIs. The data APIs are even more powerful. Let me just click into that. Hopefully that loads. Yeah, maybe not. But there's just a ton of APIs that you have access to, and some of them are synchronous, some are asynchronous. So obviously we're dealing with large data volumes. Some of these catalogs have ton of data in terms of the product, the images, the categorization's a big part of it as well. And so a lot of Commerce Cloud customers use like a PIM, which is a product information management system. So they're not actually managing like the images in Commerce Cloud, but obviously when you go to the site, you have to have images of products. So I think that's pretty much all I had. There's actually one more piece. There's actually a lot of trailheads now. So I put a couple. There's a Commerce Cloud Basics, Commerce Cloud Capabilities, Marketing and Service for Commerce Cloud. These are all like, I mean, if you read them, I mean, they're super simple. But obviously, if you want to learn a lot more, actually get your hands on it, then you have to probably become a partner. So any questions about any of this? Yep.
In the Salesforce environment, we usually, even for enterprise customers, have like 70 admin, 30 development. Is for Commerce Cloud the same, or is it more development heavy? UI adoption, I mean.
I don't know the answer to that. I think a lot of Commerce Cloud customers use partners, so they have a partner that helps manage the site and do a lot of the heavy lifting. And it's definitely on the implementation. They definitely use a partner to implement it, and then they probably bring some of the just like it with a standard Salesforce implementation, probably bring some of the stuff in house. But I think a lot of it's probably a lot more. I mean, once the site's up and running, there's a lot of like marketing and merchandising that goes on. But I think it's probably SI focused in terms of the development. Any other questions? Yep.
How exactly do you do the product mapping between Commerce Cloud and Salesforce?
So we use the standard product object from Salesforce, and I don't think a lot of Salesforce customers are like they're not managing their products in Salesforce and Commerce Cloud. They're probably going to have something like an SAP that's connected to Commerce Cloud and SAP connected to Salesforce. They're probably not doing the direct. I mean, for a large company is not going to do a direct between Commerce Cloud and Salesforce, but a smaller company might.
So, if let's say the customer is calling in and wants to see, the agent needs to see the order.
Yep.
See the product.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But this product needs to be mapped, right? So, are you preparing all the products in advance?
So what we do is if we pull an order and the product's not there, we create it, because you can't obviously create an order line without a product. Yep. But for the most part, like they don't need a lot of data around the product. They don't need images. They don't need descriptions. You obviously need to know how much the customer paid for it. So we'll typically just pull in like the SKU, the title, just kind of basic information.
Automation going that when the order is coming,
Yeah.
get some information and based on that create a product price book.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And then actually, I think that the Service Cloud connector out of the box has like kind of like an interface into Commerce Cloud, so you can actually see if you want to see more detail. And then payments, the other big thing, right, is understanding how they paid. Did they use their credit card or did they use Apple Pay or whatever?
Okay, thank you. So a lot of the approach that you've shown today is based around APIs. So the way I'm visualizing this is you have Commerce Cloud kind of here,
Yep.
Salesforce here, and you have APIs in
Yeah,
between.
there's a cloud here and a cloud here.
Okay,
Yep.
yes, of course.
Yep.
But it doesn't sound like it's fully integrated on the Salesforce platform yet.
It's not on the Salesforce platform.
It's not at all. Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, the Salesforce platform is not really built for commerce.
No, so what,
Right.
exactly. So what you're effectively doing is you're using that order data. So you're managing that's all right though, because you've
Yeah.
got that division of duty where you've got all your price management, your site management happening over here, and then what you actually collect, bring into your single view of customer, which
Yep.
is Salesforce, is their order history, so that you can service and you can
Yep.
support that customer.
Yep.
Is that generally the best practice that you
Yep.
discuss?
Absolutely. The challenge is, we're talking about very large retailers. So we're talking about millions of customers, millions of orders. And so data storage on the platform can get really expensive. And a lot of these it's all B2C, right? So a lot of these companies have implemented person accounts. And so you have an account record and a contact record for 10 million customers. So you got 20 million records. Yeah. Yep.
Any thoughts around how external objects could be used to help with this?
Yes, you could. And I think a lot of these companies are maybe using some of the like big object. I haven't seen anybody use external objects for this yet. You could do it. No, it does not support OData. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could, right? You could build a cartridge that has an OData connector, but yeah. Yep. You had a question?
What are the typical stages of the deployment project on Commerce Cloud? Is it mainly migrating from a small solution to a larger one, or integrating multiple?
So, I mean, it totally varies. There's a lot of companies that are migrating from like Oracle ATG, for their site to Commerce Cloud. In commerce, there's a lot of homegrown. So there's a lot of companies that have built their own sort of e-commerce, technologies, and then they're migrating off a homegrown solution to Commerce Cloud. And then there's a lot of like fast-growing like retailers that started with, like a kind of an open source out of the box solution, and they want to scale globally, and they want to make sure that the site scales with their growth. So that's probably the biggest one. But I'm trying to think if there's what else I've seen. The other interesting thing I didn't realize, but I was at a big e-commerce event in Las Vegas. The average Salesforce Commerce Cloud implementation is about $250K. And so that kind of, obviously it's enterprise solution, but like in my mind, I was thinking it maybe about $100,000 to implement Commerce Cloud, and it's like more than twice that. Any other? Yep.
Is the cloud-based acquisition, do you know what the future will be?
I definitely do not know the future of that. But CloudCraze is all B2B, right? And I know that there are some customers that use Commerce Cloud and some customers that use CloudCraze for B2B and B2C. Obviously, so on the B2B side, Hybris, SAP Hybris is what a lot of companies use for B2B, and some are trying to use it for B2C. It's not really built for that. And I know there's a lot of Commerce Cloud customers that that use Hybris for B2B. And so it'll be interesting to see, but I mean, definitely, and I'm sure there will be some kind of integration between the two in the future. Yep. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you.